Good evening. This is the Park and Rec Commission meeting, Thursday, November 19th, 2020. Mike Starl is absent and excused, and we have a quorum. Good evening, everyone. First, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from October meeting.
Motion to approve?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, unfinished business. We have a memorandum of understanding for the library rec center. Probably Mike.
Yep, I will start it, and Nick has also been very involved with this process, so as we go move along here, Nick, if you got anything that I'm missing, please jump in. But our staff has worked closely with the library staff and the library board. Joanne Klein on the library board spent a couple of meetings with us, working through this process. Amy over at the library director, has since resigned and left and moved on, so Joanne really jumped in to help with this process, which was definitely beneficial for both groups, just kind of get everyone's ideas on the table. Again, this is just it's a memorandum of understanding, it's agreement between us and the library. Two city departments, we're sharing funds for this project, we just wanted to make sure that everything's in agreement and things like that. So a good example is Amy's now left as the library director. If we didn't have something like this in place, we have a new director. They may have new ideas or not understand the history, or if I leave or Nick leaves or something like that. So it's a memorandum of understanding between two departments. We just wanted to make sure we had everything squared away and just kind of on paper and things like that, so we had a good understanding. So I will go through it, certainly not word for word. I will just hit some highlights. If you have any questions as we go, please stop me or wait till the end, or however you would like to do it. So the term for this memorandum would be a 20-year term between the two parties. Number two would be the utility expenses. The library will be responsible for paying for all the utilities, natural gas, water, things like that. The reason behind that is just trying to monitor utility use would be almost impossible, how much electricity we're using in these areas versus the rest of the library, etc. So the library and library board kind of thought they would just handle those expenses. As far as usage goes, the Park Rec Forestry Department would have first choice for scheduling programs. So Nick and Jackie will schedule their activities, which they have already done, into 2021. Once we are done with that, then it's up to the library to fill whatever voids that are there. And if there are still some openings, then it could be used by other departments or the general public. Generally speaking, our rec programs will be in the evenings, maybe some Saturdays, things like that, where the library programs, they're gonna be during the daytime. That's when they kind of run most of their programs as it is. So for the two parties working in that same space, I think it's probably gonna work out real well. Their priorities are, somewhat during the day. They have family fun hours and things like that with the little kids, and Nick's dance programs and things like that in the evening should work out pretty good for both groups. Number 4, janitorial services and snow and ice removal. Our department will be responsible for any the janitorial surfaces in that area. The two room, the dance room and the multi-purpose room, the lobby, the hallway, the restrooms, that area of the building. And as far as snow and ice removal goes, our department's been doing a lot of that for the last 20-30 years. We just, again, operationally, we just wanted to get it all in here, things like that. Our staff will do a little bit of extra handwork up to the doors this winter, a little more than what they used to do in the past, but in general, we've already been doing the snow and ice removal down there for decades. I don't know, longer than I've ever been with the city. So again, just a good agreement between both the departments. Number 5 is advertising for programming. We will have a half-page room for a half-page ad for the library in our rec book. This is nothing new. Jackie's been doing that for them for years. Again, just operationally, we're trying to get all aspects of what we do with them in this agreement. Repair for damage. If we damage something down there, we have to repair it during a library program or a general public use. activity. If something happens, the library would be responsible for it. If someone rents it, damages something, the library would certainly go to that party for a reimbursement. One little note with that also, if the library does rent the multi-purpose room out to a private group, the library would keep those revenues. And the reason why we're doing it is, it's in the library, they would get keys, they would get access from the library. If they're in the library, they have questions, they would go to the library staff for questions. So if an outside group does use that space, the library gets those revenues. It probably makes a lot of sense for that.
What about the cleaning though with that? Because it looks like we're responsible.
We would still
for
be
the-
responsible for it. No matter what, we would take care of the cleaning.
So we're paying for cleaning even if they have outside events, they get the money, but we don't get like a cleaning fee,
No,
nothing from
not
them?
at this time. To be quite honest with you, I don't think there's gonna be very many outside events because
Yeah.
I don't think there's gonna be room. Nick and Jackie, the library rec center's booked. The evenings are already filled for us, come 2021. I mean, literally they're gonna stop swinging hammers, it's gonna be built, and within 2 weeks, Nick's gonna have programs rolling in there. So, good question, but
How long is this agreement or a memo of understanding go for though?
20 years.
20 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we can make changes.
I'm just saying, I mean, something could change in 5 years and now we're
If-
paying all the cleaning
If a new
fees
director
for,
comes, she may have, or he or she may have ideas too.
Right.
yeah.
I mean, if there was an issue, let's say the library has no scheduling, no programs for 5 days, during the week, and they rent it out to some company for whatever, and we're having issues, obviously then we would, if there's incurred costs, we would need some of those revenues to help cover that. So, no, good
If
question.
another department uses it, do they actually charge?
We wouldn't charge them, but if there's damage, we would
But I mean,
expect
for
them.
rental, they
No.
said someone, okay, I didn't
No.
think so.
So, which is what we do now. If someone wants to use one of our facilities, a fire department or something like that, we wouldn't invoice them for that, so.
And at least to start too, the rooms are only gonna be available when the library's open. So
Yep.
they're closed at noon, 1 o'clock on Saturday, so we can have Saturday morning program in there and obviously evening during the day, but the library is closed on Sundays. So really, once we get it started, the only time that the general public will be able to use it is on a Friday evening.
And I know Amy said that she would still prefer using, having story time and everything upstairs, it's a better area than down there.
No, they seem pretty excited about using that space during the day for some of their programs, things like that, so I hope they do, certainly hope they do. And then the last item, below number 6, is just long-term maintenance and replacement. So at some point in time, if things need to be replaced, there's no carpeting on there, but if there were carpeting, it starts getting worn out, things like that, that would be paid for, from both sides, kind of deal. But yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of, there's not a lot of anything in this agreement, it's just a general agreement. I look at it again as an operational agreement between 2 city departments, and as far as we're concerned, we discussed it in depth with library board members, staff, things like that. Monetarily, both parties should be fairly equal between the janitorial and the utilities, revenues. Again, we're good partners with the library. We just want to make sure things are in order and we can move ahead. So that's basically what I got. Nick, am I missing anything?
Sounds good. Is there a motion to approve the memorandum?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second, any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Carried. New business, proposed ordinance change for weapons in city parks.
All right, I will start, and our guest this evening is Chief Moyler. I will start with a quick introduction on the topic, and I am certainly not the expert on this, so that's why I will ask Chief to kind of fill everyone in with a little bit of more detail, and then you folks can ask him questions. I am not a police officer, I'm not a police chief, and I'm certainly not a lawyer, so I will let him take the explanation. So, right now, our current ordinance, our current city ordinance, Parks 20.0221 weapons, is not consistent with our state statute and needs to be updated. As our current ordinance is written, it is not enforceable. Our ordinance right now is actually, I'm gonna say stricter more restrictive rather than what state statute is, and we cannot do that. That is not, that's not allowed in the state of Wisconsin. So, our local ordinance does need to be, amended and changed. If the park commission votes in favor of the proposed ordinance that is before you this evening, we will take that to the common council on December 7th. So at this point in time, our current ordinance does not allow anyone, and I'm gonna just kind of focus on guns, does not allow anyone to carry a gun in the city park and things like that. That is more restrictive than what we have on this, within the state statute. Our current ordinance and the proposed ordinance does give this commission, though, the ability to allow weapons in the parks. For example, our archery range or our archery programs. So if this ordinance is passed, we can still have those archery programs and things like that. And that's up to this commission, gives you folks that authority to still, bows aren't allowed in Regner Park, but they would be allowed at the archery range or during our archery program, and it would be up to the commission. So that's how it is currently, and that's how it would be under the new ordinance. So the commission still has some authority over this ordinance, even if it's passed. So, Chief, if you don't mind, kind of giving us.
Sure, I can just make it maybe a little clearer. Our present ordinance, I would say, does allow guns in the park. It's not as clear. When the city attorney reviewed it, he felt that the language should be more consistent with the state statute. Mike is absolutely correct. We cannot have an ordinance that prohibits either concealed carry, if somebody can legally conceal carry, or somebody that can open carry in the park. What the city can do is can restrict hunting in the park. So you can have, that's why the ordinance is that they can't fire a gun in the park without your permission. So they can't be in regular park hunting or whatever. And then the other weapons that are listed in here, they can be restricted, as Mike said, unless the park commission gives them permission to have, like a bow and arrow in certain areas. So this language that's here mirrors the state statute. And should-
So if you change it, you can have a concealed carry in the park.
You can right now. This
Okay.
just makes it clearer.
Okay,
There's no restriction right now that we can restrict concealed carry in the parks,
okay,
unless they're by a school.
right,
Oh, I should say concealed carry, open carry could be, if there's a park within 1,000 feet of a school, they can't open carry in that park, but otherwise, they can open carry in any park or concealed carry in any park, as long as they legally can conceal carry otherwise.
okay.
Chief, does the Boys and Girls Club qualify for any type of educational facility or institution?
That's a good question. Actually, I was thinking about that as well. I don't believe so, but I'd have to look and see if that qualifies as an educational facility. But then we'd have to do a circle around and see how far into the park it would go. And then it's just open carry, Jim. They can still conceal carry, they just can't open carry within 1,000 feet of that. I'll have to see if the Boys and Girls Club qualifies as an educational facility.
That means then they couldn't probably go, if in fact that was a fact, wouldn't be able to go in the baseball diamond, right across the street.
Not open carry,
Right.
right?
So one example.
The open carry, this, I'll just tell you, here's the correction. This came about because of the groups that were protesting in the city. And they were down on Paradise and Main. They moved it, they were going to Regner Park, they went into Regner Park, they were arming themselves, open carried and marching out of the park. And we received some calls on that, and that's where the discussion came up, and there was some confusion in the ordinance.
So right now with schools, Jim, imagine Ziegler Park and Decorah Elementary School.
Right.
So as Chief had mentioned, concealed carry, you can be in the park, but open carry, so,
In Ridge Run,
right.
did
Yeah.
you say that?
Yeah.
I didn't,
No, I didn't mention Ridgeland,
okay.
so.
We had the same issue actually with voting places, because like City Hall, the city allows people to come in concealed carry. They cannot open carry because they're within 1,000 feet of other schools. So there were certain sites, even for voting, where people could not open carry.
No, I think since the city attorney and Chief Moyler came up with this, I'm sure it's fine with us, or me, so, anything else? Any other
No.
questions?
No.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the ordinance then?
I'll move to approve it as presented.
Is there a second? And Steve second, any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Carried. Thanks, chief.
Thanks, Chief.
And then there's a proposal for fencing at Labyrinth Garden.
All right, I will take this one also. Barb Robertson and her army of volunteers at the Labyrinth Garden have grown weary of the deer issues that they've had there. In recent years, they've had issues with geese and deer. In recent years, they did plant a ring of boxwoods around the pond, around the garden, and that did a very good job keeping the geese out. They just wanted to do kind of a natural barrier to help keep the geese out. In general, that worked, but the deer can certainly jump over the boxwoods, and the deer are kind of somewhat ravaging that garden. They spend, I would say, hundreds of labor hours, volunteer labor hours every year working in that garden, and to say that they're frustrated would be maybe an understatement. So I did have a couple of colored photos in your packet. It was black and white, wasn't the best photo, but this is pretty much the exact fence that Barbara's looking at. It would be an 8-foot-high aluminum fence, black mat. The fence supposed to be, square aluminum, flat tops, nothing, no spikes or anything like that. So if kids are trying to climb them, she would have a maintenance gate on the north end, on the side where her shed is right now for access that way. Her existing arbor and gate, she would continue to use that. So right now where the boxwoods circle the garden, those boxwoods would be removed. This gate or this fence would go right in that same location. In some areas, Barb did mention along the fence, she would maybe plant some clematis to help maybe break, instead of just a black fence all the way around, kind of break that up a little bit. I think if this goes through, the first day, the first week, the first month this fence is up, I think it might be like, whoa, that's a big fence, but I think it's just gonna take a little time to get used to it. We've planted a lot of trees in and around, or around the garden, things like that, so hopefully some of that green would soften the 8-foot-high black mat, I guess, that you would see. This is certainly, in my opinion, higher quality than like a chain link fence or anything like that. Barb is very aware of Regner Park and what it means in a community and things like that, so she did not want to go cheap on this. So their estimate that they've received at this point in time is $13,000 for this. That does include some warranty and things like that. Barb and her group would raise all the funds themselves for this, and they would do all the work with volunteers and a company to get it all installed. The only thing we would maybe do to help them is the boxwoods are gonna remove them, knock the dirt off of them, or you're gonna just haul them out to the city garage and get them ground up for them, so they don't have to worry about trying to dispose of something and getting dump trucks in there for it and all that stuff. Logistically, we're right there, we can help. But the majority of the work would be with Barb and her volunteers and the fence company to get it installed.
Would the entrance still be like open, or is it like an actual
3-foot fence
a
and
latch
arch.
closure?
There-
So like people would have to like turn a knob to go
There's
in,
a
or
gate
how
there
is-
right now,
Okay.
because the boxwoods are kind of, I'll say, a vegetative fence
Okay,
almost
so it
around
won't
it.
change the entrance.
So the
from-
entrance, the entrance that's there right now would still be there, that same exact
Okay.
entrance.
And
It's
they aren't
just,
concerned that deer will jump over that, because that's only 3 feet.
Barb's worried about that the deer will jump through that. She's already contacted Durkee north of West Bend to see if he can modify that
Yeah,
her
'cause
gate.
that's what
I think.
But deer is smart, yeah.
I was gonna say, I bet they could. Can they knock it over 8 feet even? I don't
The
know.
research I've done, 8 foot will
Deer
work.
safe. Okay.
So
Like,
6 foot would not, but
let's say
8,
they jump my parents' horse
Oh, yeah.
fence, like standing next to it, like
Yeah.
bing right over, and that thing's got to be
Well,
6
part of the
feet.
problem
So.
is geese too, I mean, the
Yeah.
geese aren't gonna go up that high either.
Nope. So
Okay.
And you or your staff don't see a problem with it at all?
We don't see an issue with it. As far as, buried utilities and all that, we don't have anything over there. The Labyrinth Garden is irrigated, we would mark that for them and they could work around that. But again, with Barb and her group over there, it's all volunteers doing the work. Once in a while, like the arbor, when that was installed, we did that install for them. They've got their big butterfly sculpture out there. We put the little footing in there for them. We do some of the heavy lifting, but they're gonna install this, they're gonna be the ones that maintain, string trim around it, spray Roundup around it, keep the vegetation away around it. Barb's actually using this, she would probably use it to put another ring of stones, donated stones around it, cause that's another good fundraiser for them, that's $100 for each one of their stones, so. She's looking at getting this installed, keep the deer out, and still using it as functional for this garden, so.
Is there any concern about it looking uninviting?
Yes, and that's why it's aluminum and black mat and things like that, where
Okay.
it's not a ball diamond fence that they're looking at installing,
Yeah, like a chain link or
Right.
something, yeah,
It's decorative. It's
Yeah.
nice.
yeah.
So,
Is there any city codes on how high it can be?
great question. The residential codes do not fall into this category.
Okay.
This is considered institutional. Thank you. It's great point. Before we started with any of this, I went up to community development and inspection and all that. I gave them the memo, this information, everything that's going in, that's all they need, and they, again, classified it as institutional. It would fall in the same category as we're putting up a softball backstop in one of our parks, like a sandlot softball backstop. It would fall into something like that. It would not impede water flow or anything else like that. During a flood, if this floods, it's not going to impede the roadway or anything else like that. So Mark Petrovic and Jim Renke, I talked to them about it, reviewed it with them. I gave them all the information. They put it in their file for Reichner Park. They are all set. But no, good question,
So
Alan.
I wondered too, if it, 8 feet, I wondered why it wasn't 6 feet or whatever.
I mean, it's a nice open fence, I mean, you can see through it nicely.
It almost mimics a wrought iron fence.
Yep. So,
No, as much work as they do, and like you said, the volunteers, if that's what they want, I think it's a good idea to keep the deer out. I felt sorry for them when I was down there this year, and the lilies all got ruined by the deer.
yep.
So if are there any other questions? Otherwise, would someone like to make a motion?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? No other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Then we have program fees for the winter. Nick?
Yes, some notables are the West Bend School District Fund 80 expired for the spring programs of archery, baseball, soccer, so those fees will go back to our normal, regular fees for those spring programs.
Are they not gonna do the,
Not for the not the near future.
Okay.
They just said best pause with everything that's going on with the situation of the school district. So it may eventually get looked at, revisited. That was kind of the outgoing superintendent's initiative. So obviously the new superintendent's got a lot on her plate right now. So she pressed pause on it for now. So the contracted programs, we have a couple new group fitness programs that we'll offer in winter and spring, and that is cardio dance and then pound rock out fitness class. Otherwise, no changes, no increases for the winter spring program.
There's one new winter class that's gonna be January 18th, Winter Fun Day, where we'll be doing snowshoeing, sledding, hiking, and roasting s'mores on the campfire, which $8 for residents, $10 for non-residents. And in regards to spring classes, I'm still developing, there's gonna be about 3 new classes I'm adding, so I don't have the fees yet for those. So once it gets a little closer, I'll let you guys know.
any questions? Is there a motion to approve the program fees? So moved by Jim, second?
Second.
And second. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Carried. Donations.
I can start. Pleased to announce a donation by Blue Luna Yoga and Wellness for the amount of $240 to support recreational programming, specifically adult fitness programs. It is also my pleasure to announce a donation by West Bend Friends of Parks and Rec in the amount of $1,100 that went towards sponsoring the youth flag football t-shirts and also the virtual 5K, 10K t-shirts as well. So thank you to those business and organization.
I'll go next. I'm also pleased to announce a donation from various donators to the Universally Inclusive Playground in the amount of $4,320.
And I have a donation from Horicon Bank to offset the 2020 4th of July fireworks for $7,500. They have been a multi-year sponsor for this, and this year in particular, no matter what we told them, no matter what we said, yeah, we're gonna do these fireworks and we're not gonna have anybody in the park. Do what you think is best. I mean, no matter what we said, and we had multiple options that were on the table, no matter what we said and what we, put it to them, they said, you do what you think is best, we're gonna support you all the way. And that's, in these kind of times, it's really good to have a partner in the community like that. So, thank you to Horicon Bank.
I have two additional donations, Mike. So the first donation is from the We Energies Foundation. This will be for the development of the downtown Riverwalk, the west side. This donation amount is $12,500. The second donation is from the West Bend Economic Development Corporation. I believe they are going to look at sponsoring the alley development between the movie theater and Hussars. We've been working with them and some designers and our engineers and things like that to no longer call it an alley and call it an access point or we don't know yet exactly.
A laneway.
A parkway, a laneway, alley is old, we're gonna try and figure out something new. So West Bend Economic Development Corporation supporting the downtown Riverwalk, the west side. And the impressive value of this donation is $250,000.
Wow.
So, thank you to them and all the other donors.
Is that it?
Yes.
I move we accept and acknowledge said donations.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to accept and acknowledge the donations. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you, everybody. Meeting schedule, so you have that here. Are we planning to do the park tour?
We're planning on it. We're planning on having a summer in
Yeah,
2021.
that'd be nice.
What's it gonna look like? I don't know yet. We don't know, but I know Jackie's schedule's filling up. I know Courtney's is, Nick's is, so we are planning on having hopefully a busy summer. We will see.
Okay, that's just for our review.
I didn't know if you want,
A motion to approve these meeting dates?
sure,
Okay, is there
that
a
way they're
motion?
official.
And then we'll be official, okay.
Motion approved.
And second?
Second.
All right,
Thank
any
you.
discussion? I know I'll be missing the June one.
What? Oh,
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
They were just approved, you're not allowed to miss.
Now it's written in stone.
Always calling sick.
I don't know.
Reports. Chairman Mike isn't here, so he doesn't have a report. Secretary. I was at the Luminary Walk. It was very nice. Looked like a lot of people were there.
Over 1,000 in attendance.
Wow.
It was unfortunate that because of the COVID, we couldn't have hot chocolate and a bonfire, but
Yeah, but I mean, it was phenomenal. Our parking lot and the overflow parking lot. Well, Nick helped volunteer for parking. You can say it was.
I was
it
there,
was
yes,
full an hour before till the end. It was pretty cool to
Yeah, it was
see.
nice.
Yeah.
And then the winter one will be coming up in January 23rd.
Yes.
There'll be
Yep.
another chance at one.
Yes, I'm hoping for good weather. Last year, we actually had really good weather for our January walk, so hopefully it'll be good again.
And the other thing I'll say is, town is looking beautiful again for Christmas. The downtown is nice, and even Firefighter Bluff has got those lit up again. And then, of course, Enchantment in the Park starts next Friday. That'll be nice, so. That's all I have. And then we have a review of the quarterly trust report.
All right, two items I just kinda wanted to mention. One, I'm gonna go back to donations a little bit. For the All Abilities Playground, Courtney read it as it was a general donation. What we are going to be doing with a lot of those donations, they're having brat fries and things like that, and $50 donation, $25 donation. We're just kinda consolidating those into one donation and bringing it forward before the commission, so. Not that everyone's donation isn't important, but to go through maybe 50 or 60 smaller donations might take the commission's time, things like that. If we do have a significant donor or something like that, obviously, we would definitely allow or inform the commission of that, but we talked with the playground folks and things like that, so they did their t-shirt thing and a brat fry and things like that, and they just kind of lump it together, you know, and get it to us, so. If you see those donations like that, not real specific all the time, that's the reasoning behind that, so. The quarterly trust report, I'm going to go straight to park impact, or park acquisition fees. Many times we, or I refer to those as impact fees. As you can see right now, we have $295,000 in that account. Again, these acquisition fees, the city receives, or our department receives $1,979 per dwelling unit when a new residential development is constructed. So this money is set aside then for park acquisitions, park developments, parks and parkways and open space and things like that. That money needs to be utilized within 7 years. So Carolyn has done a phenomenal job over the last couple of months, updating and tracking everything back to history of park impact fees. So we have accurate detail amounts of exactly when our department has received those fees, I'll say the deadlines when we need to use them by, things like that. So this topic will be on your agenda for the January Park Rec Commission meeting to discuss the impact fees and what you may want, or where you may want to see some of those fees go. Today, as it's noted, we have $295,000 in there. That number will be increasing greatly with some of the new developments that are going on in West Bend, such as the brewery development or the developments down on Forest Avenue, things like that. I'm not even gonna throw out estimations this evening as far as dollar amounts or whatnot. I wanna gather all that information for the January meeting, and staff will bring some ideas forward on what direction we could, possibly use these fees, and we would also ask the commissioners for their ideas, their direction. We're talking about maybe All Abilities Playground, Parkside O. Can we use some of the impact fees for the development of the beach house? And when we talk about acquisition and projects and things like that, it has to be something new. So we couldn't renovate the bathhouse with these impact fees. It has to be something new. But with the bathhouse renovation, we're looking at a large community room on the west side of it. On the south end, open air pavilion patio, and possibly more parking behind the building. Could we use impact fees for some of that? Yes, and maybe no. I still need to discuss it with city attorney. Downtown Riverwalk, where we have an existing Riverwalk, we cannot use the impact fees for that. It has to be something new to the city, new development, new purchasing, things like that. But the north end of the new Riverwalk downtown is currently 2 parking lots. And those 2 parking lots will become Riverwalk and our underpass under Washington Street. Most likely we could use impact fees for that, for something of that nature. We can't use it to renovate something existing, but for these new amenities, something new, we can. Parkside O, we could use it for developing Parkside O. It's brand new park, things like that.
If there's an existing park, would you be able to put a new piece of equipment in a new park or something? Say you did wanna put a wheelchair accessible, or, you know, an accessible, swing at,
Sure.
you know, this park or something, is that count?
Yes and no. One example is a splash pad in Rector Park. We were able to use some impact fees for that because we don't have a splash pad anywhere else in the park system. So if we wanted to add a handicap accessible swing at a park or something like that, we may not be able to, because we have facilities like that elsewhere. We have playgrounds elsewhere, things like that. It really is for new, what term, new amenities?
Yeah, the original intent of the impact fees was way back, was that we had to ensure that there was recreational capabilities for the neighborhoods that are being developed. And you look, and we established the criteria that we put out there. You had to have a recreational facility within a certain, what is it, 1.5 miles or
Correct.
2 miles of the subdivision, so to speak. And then you look at that to see if you can develop that. If, in fact, you don't have enough from this development to do it, you may be able to get some other fees to embellish that, but something so that these people can identify with that. A good example is out on G, the Belinsky development and everything else.
Prairie Meadow Park.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
yep,
out there.
yeah, the
We
Blinsky
didn't have
homes or
anything,
whatever.
but then we developed that out there because there was nothing in reasonable access for the people. Whereas if you look at just over the other, just west of Quas Creek and everything else, we have that play lot and everything's been developed, and it does satisfy the needs of that whole residential area there, although it's a walk, you know, it's about 1/4 mile.
Mhm.
In fact, with all the duplexes and that in there, it's right next door. So you gotta keep that in mind, you have to look at, satisfy that requirement first before you can go out. But the thing is, it's to be utilized for the recreational type of aspect of it. And you can probably a loose definition of that. You know, it's hard to say, it's something you have to be careful of. It would be difficult to say utilize it to, I mean, if we had to do something to try to, say, develop Parkside O, do we have anything in proximity to Parkside O? We don't, by the way.
Right.
Well, we do have Maple Lane play lots over there, but I mean, but for the rest of all the thing over there, and that was one of the reasons for keeping Parkside on, and hopefully to develop that, is that we would provide the recreational asset for all the people over there in that neck of the woods on the south side of, southeast side of the city, and we still haven't been able to build that up, and now you've also got the duplex development immediately to the south of that too. So there might be some pressure involved, but some people could say, hey, wait a minute, we've paid these impact fees and everything else, so
Sure.
what are you guys gonna do for us? Now, we've gotta say, well, we don't have enough money, but then if you wanna put something in there, you can say, borrow from Peter to pay Paul type of thing to develop a play lot or to whatever type of thing you want. We also try to incorporate or definitely involve the neighborhood in the design. And we've always met with the neighborhood, and they usually have their leaders. We found that out most notably up or in Villa Park where you are, when we built up that again, and we've done that in all the neighborhoods that we've developed parks on. You ask the neighbors, you encourage them to participate in the design, but also then in the building, and it's amazing, you make this a big neighborhood push, and the people come out in droves. They just love, in fact, you usually have big picnics and everything else involved in it, because you gotta feed the volunteers after all. And I mean, it's worked out very well, but the thing is, you gotta keep in mind your original intent. And so just say, well, we got this money here, but maybe we can use it over here without addressing the needs that are over here. These have to be recognized and addressed first, how we're gonna do that. Or else the intent of the impact fee has been violated. And for lack of a better term, a shyster lawyer could come in if they contact them and they make it a little sticky for us. So we always have to keep that in mind, that just because you got $290,000, can we use it over here to develop this or what have you, because we don't have anything over there.
That's why it's good that the city attorney will look at it to make sure that
Yeah.
Very good.
we're doing it.
Yeah, but you gotta go, there's historical perspective on this thing, that when it was first established, and that was right when I first came on board. It was back in 79 or 80, I came on in 82, but there was some stuff
Before I
going
was
on
born.
back then.
I wasn't gonna go there.
Yeah, you're nothing more than a snotty-nosed kid.
So I guess that is some history there.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, that's all this, all about, and I remember the, discussions and the battles, so-called battles we had and everything, getting that thing in place, and then also keep it going up, and how they wanted to, even decrease it more and everything else, and Gary Anderson was the champion on that, and did a phenomenal job. But anyway.
So commissioners, so it's been a good idea to, like you said, by January, if you have ideas, bring them to the meeting and.
And if I can get something, I'm gonna try and get something to the commissioners before the January meeting. Just, hey, food for thought, you know, start thinking about things and all that. Cause even to piggyback a little bit on what Jim was referencing is like our park and open space plan, you start drawing radiuses around these locations. One example is the old Yar Ready Mix site over on Sand Drive, that discussion. Okay, should it be a city park and things like that? And what I referred to right away was the park and open space plan, where we have Ziegler Park, we have local schools, because we take the schools into account also. Why would we want to build a playground right across the street from a school and things like that? So even new park development for, you know, the neighbors over there in Sand Drive, hey, let's put a park here. We have plenty of overlap already for the, you know, for that residential development. Trails and access points to Ziegler, to Decorah Hills, and everything else, so. But no, hopefully in January, that'll be a good discussion item for the commission. Like I said, I'm gonna try and get everyone a little information ahead of time. Maybe get, you know, your thoughts on it. And right now, for January, I'm not looking for a vote, like it has to be this or something. Just give us some direction maybe and some ideas, and, you know, and I'm hoping to get you some forecasted numbers also on what we might be, you know, some of the reality here. It's gonna be pretty impressive, like,
How much time do we have before some of the money expires, basically?
2 years?
No, we're doing good, we're about, we have to spend about $4,000 by 2023.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
okay.
then
So-
by 2024, it pops
Yeah.
up significantly, to
So-
another 55,000 by 24. So we've got some time to do some.
Okay.
And like I mentioned earlier, Carolyn did an outstanding job laying it. She's got it right down to the date and everything else, so. Thank you.
Can you think of something that we've used it for recently that, as an example?
All those
All Billy's Playground.
design,
Oh, yeah, that's true, yeah.
and with Ukraine went to the river about 2 years ago.
Okay. Anything else you wanna highlight on here?
Nope, that's it for right now.
Any questions from anybody? Okay,
Thanks.
thanks. And Conservation Supervisor, Courtney?
Sure. So as Mike Weston said, we do have our upcoming winter luminary walk, January 23rd from 5 to 7. So that will be another free, open to the public event, and we love to see as many people come out again if it's not too cold out. We have Snowshoe Fridays. Once it's 2 inches or more of snow, our barn will be open on Fridays from 9 to noon, free snowshoe checkouts. So come visit me on a Friday, and if you follow us on Facebook, we will post on there our pop-up Snowshoe Saturdays, where we'll be open pretty much 10 to 1 probably on a Saturday. So that is another event we have coming up this winter. We still have Wednesday morning stewards, 8:30 to 10:30 on Wednesdays. That will go all through winter. I mean, they just repaired a boardwalk yesterday. Every Wednesday, we're out fixing, doing something on the property. And that kind of ties in with our second Saturday Stewards program this spring and summer was really successful. That's something we will carry on in spring and summer again. We were able to do a lot of different projects on the property each month, so that was good to see some new people come out and volunteer. With COVID going on, we're not in schools right now, but we are having a lot of homeschool groups come out to the Conservancy. We have 10 families that are renting the classroom every week. We have field trips with homeschoolers, Girl Scout troops coming out, so the Conservancy is not quiet right now by any means. Our trails are busy and students are coming out. So that's good to see. Recently, we had a local Girl Scout troop come out that helped assemble wood duck boxes, bee nesting boxes, bird houses, and paint bat houses that are going to be placed on the property. So this goes with our bird box initiative project. So those will be added to the map where people can come out and locate where those are on the property and be able to track the data. Some projects that are going on right now at the Conservancy. Today, the Parks guys just finished installing the steps on the barn. So you'll see from the upper barn to the lower, so that will help with our plant sale, stewards, people that are renting on the property. So they look really great, so next time you're out there, make sure to take a look at those. You might have seen on our Facebook page, but right now we have the logger out harvesting the pines out in the pine plantation. He's about 90% done with the project. So again, if you haven't been out to see all the logs stacked and to check out the property, it's a really cool thing to see right now. So that will be about a 5-year project. We just had our board meeting yesterday, and so that whole area of the property will really be changing in the next 5 years. We'll be planting new trees in the spring. We'll have a forestry mower coming in after the logging is done, so I'll continue to update you on those. And recently, a couple weeks ago, Lac La Ronde was, we were recognized by West Bend Community TV. We're gonna be featured on The City, so on their YouTube page. They came out and did some drone footage and interviewed me, and they're gonna be interviewing Paul Deschamps and doing a special on us, so stay tuned on that YouTube page, the City of West Bend Facebook page, and the Conservancy, so you'll get to hear a little bit about the property and stuff going on there.
That'd be nice.
That's all I have for now.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Tourism and event coordinator, Jackie.
It's me. Saturday, October 24th, we did a new event. It was kind of started as a whim, on a whim, but we just really wanted to do some sort of activity this fall that people could do safely. We noted during the summer that the drive-through or drive-in movies were really successful. People felt safe, but they were entertained, and so on the October 24th, we did the first community drive-through pumpkin patch. We did it utilizing Riverwalk East from Highway 33 to the Hubs traffic circle. We were able to, with the help of city administration and marketing, we were able to get Fleet and Farm to come on board. Fleet and Farm donated pumpkins. All you had to do was go out there and get a pumpkin, and you could carve it and then bring it down to the Riverwalk East, and we had drop off between noon and 2. We had a couple of hours where we had a lot of volunteers out there helping us break open chem sticks, glow sticks, to insert into every pumpkin. Unfortunately,
Weather.
it froze. The weather dropped so fast, and the event started at 6. At 5:45, the chem sticks.
The glow sticks, like
Glow
glow.
sticks froze.
They froze and went out.
They go out when they freeze, huh?
Yeah.
Because I guess
Yeah.
the chemical reactions.
Slow-
Yeah, absolutely.
slows
Who
it
knew,
down.
right?
Yeah, I
Who
guess.
knew? Fortunately, we were able to get a lot of votive candles in a hot hurry. By 6:05, we had everything relit, and it was quite successful. We had over 1,100 cars that came through. We were able to check it by handing out flyers as they came in. We had pumpkins lit on the whole Riverwalk. The Art Museum had done a Saturday event where they built scarecrows. So they had scarecrows up into the gardens. We had a theater company in the area, did some characters. So we had Frankenstein and Dracula and Addams Family frolicking throughout for a lot of the night. It was really cold, but and the volunteer center allowed us to use their new space, and so we were able to have our volunteers who were freezing come in. They gave us hot apple cider, and so it really worked out well. It was really well received. We had about 200 I think about 250 pumpkins that people had donated, that came in and had carved pumpkins. We hope that if we continue it next year, that we get more community members to bring their pumpkins in. And we had a couple of groups. We had the West Bend East Dance Team that did a tableau, and they were out there. So we have some ideas on how we can make it better without making it too complex. The whole idea of it was that it was simple, and people really liked it. I think the toughest was the traffic management, because we had people lined all the way up, almost at one point to Silverbrook on Highway 33, trying to get in, because they moved too slowly through the area. So there's some logistics that I think we need to work out in terms of that, but for a first time, kind of see how it goes, give people something to do during COVID, we feel it was a success. So that was the first thing. The activities book, oh yeah, Fleet Farm I did talk about. The activities book is out as of tomorrow in the Friday newspaper, Daily News, and then again in the Post on Sunday. It has been online for about 2.5 weeks, the flip book. So you can bring it up on your phone and go through the whole thing, you probably have it. I just want to make a note, of course, we have all the activities and everything that Nick and Courtney will talk about with the fees and whatnot, but this is always the book, more than any of the other books, that we highlight all of the rental facilities as well, in detail. So if anybody ever asks you, well, what do they have, how many seats do they, and because these are the things that people ask all the time. How many people can I put in the Riverside Pavilion? How many people will go in this building, in the La Couronne facility? This particular book, we give several pages, I think it's full 3, and with photos, of most of our larger rental facilities. So it's a good one for that because it is online. You can always just pop it up and go on the city website. It's on there as well. So if people ask you what is available and whatnot, at least it gives them an idea of what we've got going on out there. This is the book. The summer book, we don't put a lot in because we don't have room.
Will the new shelter at the fishing pond be in this, or is that too small of a shelter?
We don't have it set up for rentals yet.
Okay. Yeah, I
So
thought
once
next year we
these
were-
are all of our rental facilities, but I think once it is.
We can't add it at any point in time if we need to.
Yeah, it'll be, once it's all set up and we can figure out what it is as far as rental, then it'll be included from that point forward. It's like we mentioned our picnic groves as well, so, but when we get into picnic groves and those type of facilities, people have to go online to rent them, so. And I think that's all I have for me. Oh, winter warm-up is gonna be, the same weekend as, the La Couronne, the Luminary Walk is also the winter warm-up weekend. We're gonna have 2 Fat Tire bike races. We'll be having one on Saturday in Regner Park, and on Sunday it will be starting in Riverside Park, and it will end in the downtown area. There will be ice sculptures, again. This year we will have the tree down, by then the Christmas tree will be down out of Old Settlers, as will the Christmas specific decorations, but the rest of them we're gonna request that they stay out, because they really are beautiful, so. We'll still have, ice sculptures down there, and hopefully a good weekend of weather. Now I'm done.
Thank you. Recreation Supervisor, Nick?
We had good participation for our fall programs with, of course, the limitation and modifications in place. Program groupings were 10 to 1, 8 to 1, swim lessons was 5 to 1. Just a quick rundown, on Tuesdays we had soccer, sign language for kids. Women's health and fitness classes were Tuesdays and Thursdays. Instructional football was on Wednesdays, baseball is on Thursdays, and our Saturday morning programs was archery lessons, swim lessons, and then we had our flag football games out at Claus on Saturday mornings as well. Fall contracted program offerings, we had the music lessons at the Music Academy, our ballroom dance, pound, group fitness, and cardio dance, group fitness. We had a babysitter training course on Saturday, November 7th in the PD classroom. We had 17 students participate in that. Finalizing plans to offer more of the babysitter training courses. There seems to be a demand or a community want for those, so we're gonna offer some more of those classes on a monthly basis, starting in January, so January, February, March. And working with a contracted licensed instructor as well to be consistent instructor to offer those classes on a monthly basis. Dance classes, we are, as of last week, so this week was the first week that we entered our holiday winter break from those classes. Are traditionally, or used to be down at the Mutual Mall in the dance studio. Obviously, when we start back up on January 19th and the 20th, those classes will be at the Library Rec Center. My plan is to be able to offer an open house for those dance families and kids the week prior, so the 12th and the 13th. We should be able to, as long as construction stays on schedule for that new space. Co-opt with the Jackson Parks and Rec to offer a women's volleyball league on Friday evenings. We're gonna start that January 8th at the Jackson Community Center. And the regular hours for the Warman House is, as of now, we're planning to offer the Warman House on Saturday and Sundays from 1 to 9 p.m. And then of course ice skating will be available on a daily basis once ice skating is permitted, or once we have frozen ice. And then the lights come on 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Goals.
I see you got the pond filled up, so now we just need some cold weather.
Thank you for the
That's it?
phone call. I know the girls will be happy.
Yeah, we have some teams interested already, so.
Yeah, I thought the demand, yeah, I was out there, so I'm glad.
Nope, Nick scrambled, found
Perfect.
Jackson Community Center on Friday night, so.
Thank you, yeah.
Fridays isn't usually the ideal time to offer league, but I think maybe with everything going on, it might be ideal because a lot of parents are home with the kids and stuff on the weekdays, so maybe they get out for a night
Yeah.
on the weekend and participate in the volleyball. So,
That's it? Thank you. And Mike, you probably handling the rest?
Yes, a couple quick items. I did email out today, mid-morning, I believe it was. Cindy had a updated project list. Couple highlights on that. The Library Rec Center, as Nick mentioned, that is on schedule. We should be finishing that in December and have it operational in January. Again, Nick already has that thing booked, so which is good to go. Riverwalk downtown, you may have noticed, our staff came in, we demoed the Riverwalk, took the trees out, pavers, all that, we put up erosion control. We are now in a holding pattern. We're waiting on 2 electrical easements with property owners for We Energies. Once those are done, We Energies, Charter, and AT&T will be in there. They are ready, the utility companies are ready, they wanna get started before it frost, et cetera, et cetera. We're just waiting for those 2 easements, so if you drive by and don't see a lot of activity, that's what we're waiting for yet at this point in time. The beach house, I'm gonna go back, Nick, 2 years, Jackie, 3 years, something like that, we were working on redesign of the beach house.
3.
That is done, it is completed, we have it set up, if we wanted to, we could construct it in phases. So let's say funding for the project, we have enough funding for phase 1, we could build phase 1, which would be the main building with restrooms and things like that, open air pavilion on the south end. Phase 2 would be the community room in the back, phase 3 parking lot, things like that. So the architectural work is done, the design work is done, the contractual specifications are done, everything is done, 100% done. Ready to go to state for review, which we are going to do that. We're gonna send it to the state, so we are 100% ready to go. We have talked to some local businesses and individuals, things like that, for some possible sponsorship with that. So far, things are moving along nicely. It's a good way.
You're gonna share that with the commission too?
What's that?
The final plans, you're gonna share it with the commission?
Cindy did, when was that? When was Cindy here with the plans? September, I believe.
Yeah.
She gave a project update.
Those are the plans.
Yep. And Jim, I can email out too, the general floor plan and things like that as a reminder.
For a refresher.
yeah, she has
Yep.
a trunk of files for all that.
Yeah, nope, I can certainly do that, I can send that out. So definitely a nice way of doing a renovation project like this. Take your building, go do the design, the architectural work, the engineering, come up with a game plan, costs, things like that, and then try and move forward at that point in time. So it is in a good location, good spot right now, planning wise, so that is exciting. Winter activities in the city of West Bend, we will have plenty. These three people sitting over here next to me, they have many, many things planned this winter. Carolyn supporting the activities, the program, snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, sled riding, et cetera, et cetera. If you live in West Bend or you're bored this winter, something is wrong. You need to get out of your house and go and enjoy your park system. During this crazy pandemic time, I think it's become very obvious, a lot of people have rediscovered their park system and their trails and things like that in West Bend. Get out of your house if you're virtual schooling and go use these facilities. They are awesome. We've got great programs. Courtney's snowshoeing, she's ready. Just all we need is snow. We can do it. We'll pull the trigger on it, get things going. If you don't want to play out in the snow, Nick certainly has the library rec center ready to go. That thing will be operational. So if you don't have anything going on this winter, or you're bored, buy a bike, get out the Glacial Blue Hills. They're going to be grooming trails out there this winter, all of that. So there's more activities going on this winter, Jackie, than I've seen in a bunch.
Yeah.
Special events downtown, all that. And everything, everything should be COVID friendly, so get off your couch and go out and have some fun. And my last item, and maybe the most important, is no December Park Commission meeting.
Again,
Unless you want to get together.
again,
We'll go to
second
the
time.
trails then instead.
So that is what I have.
Okay, anybody else have anything for the order? Otherwise, we will adjourn this meeting.
Sounds good.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.